Everyone has heard of reduce, reuse, recycle. However, this memorable phrase that we learned in grade school to raise environmental awareness seems to be overlooked and simplified. We live in a consumer-based society with non-essential materials being multiplied by the second. One main problematic material is plastic, more specifically, plastic waste. If you can't reuse it, it should be recycled. Planet Earth is a blue and green paradise that society is allowing to turn into one huge landfill. We wake up daily expecting to breathe in the nice clean air. However, if we continue to pollute the land around us, we will not get this luxury anymore. We visited Highland High School to talk to Mrs. Nicole Weber, who has been teaching for 10 years, including courses such as Environmental Science, AP Biology, and Biomedical Science.
AP Biology is a lower level advanced biology course, so it's like they're taking their first year of college biology in high school. Environmental Science, we focus on environmental issues and the human aspect of it. And in PBS, it's biology, but from the medical standpoint. I have actually volunteered in South Africa. I've gone there twice, in 2015 and 2007, and I've worked at a conservation reserve where they focus on studying the animals and making sure that they are trying out new procedures, like instead of culling elephants for population control, they were using birth control instead to see how that would affect the elephant populations and if the elephants could handle that. And I also volunteer at a baboon sanctuary. I actually volunteer with my students at Indiana Dunes Environmental Learning Center. We go out and we participate in Hoosier River Watch out there with them. We actually participate in Hoosier River Watch right here at the school. Katy Ditch is right off of the school property. Hoosier River Watch is a program where we collect data on water quality, and we actually submit our data to the state, and the state uses it to help monitor Indiana water systems. We even grow endangered grasses and different vegetables for Chelberg Farm right here in our school greenhouse. It's mostly a learning experience. The stewardship is just a small portion of the trip, but we hike in different environments and we compare ecosystems, so they actually get to do some biome studies like soil quality testing and water quality testing to learn what the different ecosystems found at the dunes, how they are different from each other.
We spoke with Leopold Sawyers, who is an undergraduate student of Purdue University Northwest and is an active environmental club officer.
We have an environmental club here on campus, and so I'm one of the club officers. I do the event planning, note keeping, and just keeping track of who's showing up for attendance and sending out emails and kind of the secretarial duties. So if you guys do not know, we actually do have a greenhouse here on campus, which is pretty cool. We grew a couple of different native species, some herbs, some potatoes, the sunflowers, a lot of basil. We put a green box, a garden box behind the dorm, so we've done that. We're actually looking forward to this semester getting a native plant garden, bringing back some native pollinators on campus. So we're going to definitely utilize the greenhouse and spread awareness about it and hopefully get more people to come out and get a green thumb. Last semester, I actually worked for a not-for-profit Student Conservation Association, and we planted over 2,000 trees in the Calumet watershed region, so Whiting, East Chicago, Gary, Hammond. And every Saturday, the environmental club came out and represented and helped plant a lot of those trees in the community. So we do like to get out involved in the community, and those were all native tree species.
We do a little bit of everything. They get a very broad view since it's a lower level environmental science class. We focus on like what the soil is supposed to be like and what's actually happening to it, what the water should be like, what's actually happening to it. We do have a big climate change unit and comparing fossil fuels to alternative energies. I'm starting to get into, as the world is noticing the plastic garbage problem, that's something I'm going to start bringing into my classroom more and more. The end of the year is when we usually have a waste management unit, and so that's when I'm going to bring it up a little bit more focused. Some of my students actually volunteered in the Dominican Republic last year, in March. They went and they saw the plastic problem firsthand. The Dominican Republic has got a unique issue because not only is a lot of our plastic waste making its way down there through ocean channels, but they also don't have their own garbage system, so people just throw their stuff out right in the streets. And so everywhere you look in the Dominican, there's garbage everywhere. When we were snorkeling at the coral reefs, there's garbage in the coral reefs. And so my students were really able to witness it firsthand. So I'm worried that my impact in the classroom won't be as good as it was out in the real world, but I'm going to try to bring that to the classroom and let the kids really see some of those images that we took while we were there.
So I'm from the city of Hammond. Mayor McDermott is actually doing a very fantastic job of preserving our parks, creating more bike trails so you can get around without actually having to use your vehicle. Like I said, for SCA, we planted a lot of trees in the city of Hammond. I don't know the exact number, roughly I would say over 500 trees. And we have the Gibson Wood, we have Carl and Oxbow, we have the Marina, we have the Bird Sanctuary. So there's a lot of native, natural, kind of cool nature preserve spots in this area. In the city of Hammond, those are all in the city of Hammond. So the city of Hammond recycles through Republic. I do know the Environmental Learning Center does milk cartons recycling program where they turn them into benches. So the campus does recycling for batteries. The campus also recycles paper, cardboard, plastic, aluminum, and they have designated recycling bins either within the classroom or out in the hallways, libraries, and all over the place. Usually they're side by side.
Anytime we can find something that is different than plastic, we try to do that. I bring regular silverware to school with me every day instead of using the plastic silverware. I try to remember to bring the reusable straws. It's sometimes funny when you say no straw at McDonald's and they look at you really confused. No straw. We found something really cool through the internet where it's called Bites toothpaste. And instead of a tube of toothpaste, you get a glass jar that's full of these little tablets that you chew on, and then they start to suds up when you're brushing your teeth, so you don't have to have those plastic tubes as a waste product. Using reusable bags when you go grocery shopping, or even to any store, you can bring in reusable bags now. So these are, anytime me and my husband stumble across something that we can change, we try to.
One of the biggest things is on the consumers and the users. How do we, recycle? So a lot of the time there's still a little bit of the beverage in there. And so what recycling companies do, they don't go through the cleaning process. Is they take the raw material and then they sort it and then they recycle it. So we have to be vigilant in being, consumers and making sure we clean out actually like our plastic bottles. You can't have food contaminants in there. You can't have, like beverages in there. Like you can't, like say if like you get a box of pizza and you want to recycle the cardboard, if it's greasy, that's not recyclable. If it has cheese stuck to it, it's not recyclable. So we just have to be aware of that stuff as well as we put it into the recycling, because if that spreads, grease spreads, if it contaminates the recyclable materials, then that batch is no longer recyclable. So we can actually be doing ourselves more harm than good. Recycle correctly. So like if you're going to recycle in your own home recycling, you want to make sure you get rid of all the food contaminants that are in your products. Like even if it's dirty dishwater, like you wash all your dishes, set a separate tub aside for like your recyclables, and then at the end of like washing your dishes, go through and just wash out your recycling. And that way you can conserve water, maximize your resources, and also have very effective, clean products to recycle. What can we do as an individual? Because that's where all of the momentum and impact come from. So we have to look at ourselves, what do you do on a daily basis that, let's say you care about the environment. What do you do on a daily basis that helps protect it? Or what do you do on a daily basis that helps, promote and conserve it? Or what do you do on a daily basis to help grow it? So it doesn't matter what your particular interests are. We do focus on just making sure that on a personal level, what are you doing daily? Because that's how you make change.
Well, once it gets into our waterways connect to larger waterways. Like eventually our water is going to get washed into Lake Michigan. That water is going to shed into the Mississippi River. In one way or another, water from our local area or any local area is going to make its way to an ocean. And once it's in the ocean, it can spread in multiple different ways there because of ocean currents. So waste that we dispose of here, whether we just try to dispose of them properly or don't dispose of them properly, can often make their ways around the world and cause problems for other people, even though they're not necessarily a problem for us.
Look at yourself. Literally look at yourself, look at, what's in your house, look at what you're buying, and just be very, very mindful of what it is that you're doing. Because that's the thing is sometimes we just don't know. If we're, most people and myself included, we don't want to drink tap water. Some people are we want filtered water. Sometimes it's unnecessary. And going back to plastic in regards to that, there's definitely been studies where we've seen that they've seen in Aquafina, Nestle, there's little plastic shavings floating around in the water. So that's definitely an issue that everyone's very familiar with, the turtle photo and the, plastic straw in the nose, but plastic's kind of getting in everything. It's getting in our oceans, it's getting in the bellies of our food, it's getting in the bellies of ourselves. We're drinking those bottled water products. So just little things like, get yourself an aluminum water bottle and refill it. Here on campus that's one of the really cool things we have. We have a filtered water system, and so take advantage of it. Save yourself some money too. I honestly, and this is something that's like heart and soul, any decision that I make. So it sounds crazy, but like it's literally like if I'm shopping, what are you looking for? So it's like, all right, so a lot of people when they go shopping, they're looking at the financial cost of things. Okay, like what are the standards? Like, is it in glass or is it in plastic or is it in paper? Where did it come from? Is it local? Is it across borders? Is it like across seas? Like, how did it get here? And even the stores you go to. If it's in a lot of like plastic packaging, is it worth getting? Like, do I need peppers that are in plastic packaging? Or do I get the peppers that are, just hanging out? Obviously, there's some things that you can't do, but it's also, setting that limit and standard, yourself. I do follow a vegan diet, and I know that's not for everybody. I look at the environmental issues in relationship to that, in terms of land use. It takes more land, to raise cattle and feed and all that stuff versus if I could just grow my own food or like get produce that takes way less land, way less resources, way less water. It's the little things like that, but they make a big impact.
One of the main messages I like to give my students is that every single person matters. So a lot of people feel discouraged because the problem is so big. I'm one person, what can I do? Even if I don't use straws, 10 other people are using more straws. They feel like it's a problem that they can't defeat, and I want all my students to know, and anybody else who's feeling that way, that little changes make a difference, and the more little changes you make, the bigger the ripple effect you're going to have, and so that it's okay to just make a few, and you don't have to be perfect. That's another thing. People look at me sometimes and they will judge because you're an environmental science teacher. Why are you using that? That's not environmentally friendly. But I'm not perfect, but I'm just trying to make as many little changes as I can to make a small difference wherever I can.
With the issue of plastic waste on the rise, more and more alternatives to plastic are surfacing. People are making changes every day to reduce plastic waste. Straws, toothbrushes, plastic tubes, water bottles, shopping bags, and many more items are being replaced with various eco-friendly options. Stainless steel straws are replacing the buildup of straws. Biodegradable bamboo toothbrushes are an alternative to the thousands of plastic toothbrushes that take centuries to disintegrate. Cloth and paper bags allow you to bring home groceries without killing wildlife and the environment. Reusable water bottles can keep you hydrated without contaminating our planet.
I made the switch.
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 I made the switch because there's no planet B.
Average people always think, well, what is one straw going to do to the environment? But in the meantime, 7 billion other people have the same thought. These little changes that you make in your life will help the environment in the long run. When you spread the word to another person, they will do the same, and it becomes a domino effect. You can help make the change, because there is no planet B.
environmental awareness is for everybody. I truly believe that. And if you don't want to believe that, it still is like, it doesn't make it any less real. We lose our oceans, okay? Well, now what? That's a whole ecosystem right there that collapses. If we start to lose parts of our terrestrial ecosystems, well, that's a whole nother ecosystem that collapses. We're seeing the deforestation of our Amazon rainforest, that's a collapse of a whole ecosystem. And we don't even understand all the way. That's the whole point of universities. We're trying to understand. And it's we don't even understand all the way how these things connect, but we're not even asking the question sometimes. We're just let's just do it. Let's just get rid of it. Which is why I say, for me, I know a lot of people are oh, vegan diet, it's not for everybody. Cool, I get it. That's fine.
But every once in a while
But it's not even that. You can eat meat every day, but what's your standard? Where you're getting your meat from? You're not growing a cow. You're not growing a chicken. You're not getting it from your neighbor or anything like that. No, a lot of the time it's getting exported or imported. It's getting imported from Brazil or Ecuador or something like that, where they're we don't care. As Americans, we don't care. We're just whatever. It's not on our land. That's our carbon sink. So that's why we're seeing this rise of carbon emissions into the air. We're seeing the higher concentrations of carbon, which is increasing our global temperatures, and that does affect us. That's that's the melting of the ice caps. That's increasing the rate that it's going, because they've been melting ever since the ice age. But when the sea level rises, well, it doesn't matter what continent you're on. If you're below sea level, at sea level, and if it continues to rise, it's those numbers change, and then water doesn't that's basic chemistry. Water doesn't like to sit on top of each other. It likes to expand. So what do we do about all of our coastal regions? And we start to see mass displacement. And so what does that do for us? We're cool, life is great right now. Here in Northwest Indiana, you can still drive slow. There's still space. You're not crowded, but you look, when people don't have a place to live, well, where are they going to go? They're not going to go to all the crowded places. They're going to go to the least crowded places and make those more crowded. And so well, what are we going to see here? So it's just all kind of crazy things to think about, but that's our reality. So like you guys said, there's no planet B.